Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning to our chairperson, Sir Almar Acevedo, members of the BAC Technical Working Group and Secretariat, and also to our readers who are, I hope, are viewing in the live stream for our YouTube account. Welcome to for today's pre-vid conference. So these are the agendas at hand. We will be discussing the basic contract data and project details, eligibility requirements, technical component envelope, final component envelope, format sealing and marking of bids, and also the standard bidding procedures for procurement of infrastructure projects. Okay. For the basic contract data, so these are the 6 projects or 8 projects that we will be discussing. 26 JC 0053, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Hall, Barangay Pange, Siayan, Zamboanga del Norte. With a total ABC of 2,970,000 and a duration of 115 calendar days. 26 JC 0056, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, covered court, Lupasang Elementary School, Barangay Lupasang, Manukan, Zamboanga del Norte, with an ABC of 2,970,000 and a duration of 144 calendar days. For 26 GC 0060, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, home economics building, Banbanan Elementary School, Barangay Banbanan, President Manuel A. Roxas, Zamboanga del Norte, with an ABC of 2,970,000 and a project duration of 115 calendar days. 26 GC 0061, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Central, Dipolog City, Zamboanga del Norte, and ABC of 2,970,000 and a duration of 115 calendar days. For 26 JC 0062, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Labakid, President Manuel A. Roxas, Zamboanga del Norte, with an ABC of 2,970,000 and a contract duration of 115 calendar days. 26 JC 0063, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, Proc. Uno, Barangay Moliton, President Manuel A. Roxas, Zamboanga del Norte, with an ABC of 2,970,000 and project duration of 115 calendar days. 26 JC 0064, construction of multipurpose building, construction completion of multipurpose building, Proc. Santa Cruz, Barangay Duhino, President Manuel A. Roxas, Zamboanga del Norte, with an ABC of 2,970,000 and a contract duration of 115 calendar days. And lastly, 26 JC 0067, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Poblacion, Sindangan, Zamboanga del Norte, with an ABC of 4,950,000 and a contract duration of 124 calendar days. For the eligibility requirements, the contractors or bidders who are wish to participate in this bidding, in this procurement, are encouraged to enroll in the DPWH Civil Works Application or CWA at the procurement's service, at least 5th floor at the DPWH Central Office. And contractors eligibility to bid on the project will be determined using the DPWH Contractor Profile Eligibility Process or CPIP. Although registration is not required or a prerequisite for the submission of bids for specific contracts, we are encouraging you to submit these documents to the procurement service as early as possible, even without any reference to any specific contracts. All contractors who want to enroll in the CWA shall submit not later than the deadline of bids or simultaneously with the submission of its bid. The duly accomplished CCASI, Contractors Confidential Application Statement for Inclusion, together with the all documents required in the list of annexes of the CCASI. The form of the CCASI, the form can be downloaded in the DPWH official website, and you can also inquire at the procurement service for additional information. They are open on weekdays from 7 to 4 p.m. For the pickup license requirements, so these are the required pickup license for these 8 projects. So all projects requires general building GB1 building and a size range of small b. For the technical component envelope, these are the documents to be submitted by the bidder. First and foremost is their valid and updated project registration certificate. If you are in a joint venture, then each partner of the joint venture shall submit the respective field jobs registration certificate. Platinum membership. For joint ventures, they must also submit a special pickup license. Third document is the statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, is LCC, which is similar to the procurement project within 10 years from the submission of bid using the prescribed form as shown on the right side of the screen. And together with that particular form are the supporting documents enumerated as follows: no, the certificate of completion and or final inspection report, CPS rating of a satisfactory, certificate of final acceptance, notice of award and notice to proceed, contract agreement with with a copy of scope of work and contract cost and approved bill of quantities. And for joint ventures, joint venture agreement stating the percent participation for joint ventures. Okay. In order for the contractor to be eligibility to bid for this particular contract, the single largest completed contract must comply with the following cost and similarity criteria. For the cost criteria, it should be at least 50% of the ABC, adjusted to current prices using the PSA consumer price indices. So the amount of that particular contract, the final contract cost must be at least equal to 50% of the ABC. For similarity criteria, it must be considered similar to the contract and must contain a category of works which is the same or as or similar to the major categories of work of a contract to be bid, costing at least 40% of the total cost of SLCC, or a category of work which is the same as or similar to the major category of works of contract to be bid, costing at least equal to the same. However, for contractors under small a and small b, they are allowed to bid with if they have no prior experience, provided that such contract will not be more than their allowable range of contract costs as stated in their pickup license. For this particular projects, these are the major similar categories of work. For all projects, the major category of work is BICWPLC, or building construction without piles, low-rise concrete frame, 1 to 5 stories. And these are the similar categories of work as shown on the screen. So this is based on DEO 164 series of 2025. So these are additional similar categories of work under BICWPLC. This one also. For the port document to be submitted by the bidder, they must submit a statement of the bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity of the contract to be bid, using the prescribed form as shown on this right side of the screen. And together with that form are the supporting documents as shown on the screen also. No? The latest percent, statement of works accomplished and percent time elapsed, contract agreement with copy of scope of work and contract costs and bill of quantities, notice of award and notice to proceed. And for joint ventures, the joint venture agreement stating the percent participation of a joint venture. So that is the fourth document. The fifth document, the net financial contracting capacity. The bidder must submit their computation of the NFCC, which shall be computed as follows: current assets minus current liabilities as reflected in your field JIPs, times 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract to be bid. So the value of that shall be equals to the total value in your list of ongoing government and private contracts. So in order for the contractor to be eligible to bid for these projects, their computed NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC. During the bid opening, the contractor's NFCC will be determined or checked using the DPWH contractor profile eligibility process, or CPIP, but it is also subject to further post qualification. Next document, this is only applicable for joint ventures. They must also submit a joint venture agreement in accordance with RA 4566, or the Contractor's License Law. So each partner of the joint venture shall submit their own or the respective field JIPs as discussed a while ago, and then the submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitute compliance. Now, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts. Next document to be submitted by the bidder is a bid security. The most common is the bid securing declaration, or you may also submit other forms of bid security as shown on the screen. If it is cash, then it's 2% of the ABC. For cashier's check, it's 2% of the ABC also. Same with manager's check, 2% of the ABC. But if it is a bank draft, a guarantee, or a revocable letter of credit, or a surety bond, it must be at least 5% of the ABC. Okay, next document to be submitted by the bidder is their, under project requirements, is their organizational chart for the contract to be bid using the prescribed form as shown on the screen. So in this particular form, the bidder must reflect all or indicate all the names of the key personnel as required in the bid data sheet clause 12.1 H2 and special condition of the contract clause 6.5. Next document under project requirement is the list of contractors' key personnel using the prescribed form as shown on the screen. Together with that particular form are the following supporting documents: curriculum vitae per personnel with experience data, notarized affidavits of commitment to work per personnel, photocopy of their valid PRC licenses, photocopy of valid certificate of accreditation, and training. Remember that the list of key personnel shall meet the requirements as indicated in bid data sheet clause 12.1 H2. Okay. So for this particular project, these are the required list of contractors' key personnel together with their minimum years of similar experience and minimum years of total experience. So the same to all projects, to all 8 projects, one project manager with 3 years similar experience, 5 years total, one project engineer must be at least provisional project engineer or P1, no, as prescribed in DEO 1690 of 2025. One materials engineer must be at least DPWH accredited materials engineer 1 as prescribed by DO 98 series of 2016. Another personnel required in this particular contracts are a safety officer, which must be a duly accredited safety officer, and lastly, a foreman with 3 years of similar experience and 5 years of total experience. Now, take note of the limits of assignments for contractors project engineer as prescribed in DO 169 series of 2025. Make sure that your pledged project engineer must not go beyond the limits of assignment as indicated in DO 169 series of 2025. Maximum, take note that only maximum of 10 contracts within the same region is allowed for a particular project engineer. So depende na kung sa shop. If the personnel is a provisional PE1, the total cost must be not more than 500 million, and each cost of the 10 projects must not be more than 100 million. For PE1, each cost of the project must not be more than 150 and at a total of 1 billion. And for PE2, no limit for a particular cost of any project, but the aggregate cost or total cost must be at least 1.5. Must be not more than 1.5 billion. The same also with materials engineer. Make sure that your pledged personnel for materials engineer must not go beyond the limits of assignment as prescribed in DO 98 series of 2016. Maximum of 3 projects per personnel. Additional document to be submitted for project engineer and materials engineer is their copy of PRC license and certificate of accreditation. For safety officer, make sure that it has or that he or she has undergone mandatory 4-hour basic construction and occupational safety and health training from DOLE or any DOLE accredited training organization, and attach the training certificate of that particular training. So pursuant to item 6 of Department Order number 9 series of 2012, if the proposed key personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the time of bidding, the bidder shall submit their certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract, and he or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of implementing all this. The bidder may also propose a key personnel who is not an employee, provided that the said personnel or is required to submit a certification that he or she will work for the bidder if it's awarded the contract under DT. Take note also that no personnel shall be assigned to more than one key position. Another document to be submitted by the bidder under project requirements, the list of contractors, major construction and material testing equipment. It is categorized into three. We have own list, under for list, and under purchase agreement. For own equipment, attach a copy of ownership such as deed of sales, sales invoices, certificate of ownership, and or registration certificates from LDO. For list equipment, only a certification from the lessor that the equipment units will be available for the contract once awarded. The same also goes to purchase under purchase agreement certification from the vendor that the equipment units will be available for the contract once awarded. So the prescribed form is shown on the right side of the screen. However, for minimum material testing equipment, just refer to DO 11 series of 2017. Unlike the minimum heavy equipments, the material testing equipment is a per contractor basis, meaning this equipment can be used to service several ongoing projects of the bidder. So in compliance also with DO number 253 series of 2003, only concrete and asphalt mixes produced by duly accredited plants shall be used in the DPWH. Thus, the bidder must attach a certificate of accreditation from batching plant if that particular project requires a batching plant. These are the minimum major construction equipment for ID 53, backhoe and dump truck, 1 unit for backhoe, 2 units for dump truck. For ID 56, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 67, it requires backhoe with breaker, 1 unit, and a dump truck, 2 units. And lastly, for ID 61, 1 bagger mixer only and 1 plate compactor. Another document submitted by the bidder is a original copy of the omnibus form statement. Make sure that you are using the latest OSS form. If the bidder is a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, they must also submit an original notarized secretary certificate. And for joint venture, original special power of attorney. And another document submitted by the bidder is their latest information sheet, JS. This is only required for bidders who are corporations or under partnership, or private or sector organizations, foundations, and associations. And then lastly, under technical documents is the ISO 9001:2015 certification. This will only be submitted for contractors with pickup size range of medium A, medium B, large A, and large B. Now, to continue with the discussion, Engineer Jinky Elcano will discuss to us the financial components of the bid and format, signing, sealing, and marking of bids.
Good morning, everyone. Financial component envelope. Original or duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, and failure to sign each and every page of the bid form, including the BOQs, shall be ground for the rejection of bid. And the discount offered shall be signed also by the person signing the bid if it is handwritten. The original of duly signed bid prices in the BOQ, it has two options. BOQ for each part of the contract using prescribed form, as shown on the right side. The bid price summary for all parts of the contract using prescribed form. In the BOQ, the bidder shall not change the entries under pay item and pay item description, unit, and quantity set by the procuring entity, and indicate the subtotal for each page in the bill of quantities. Again, failure to sign each and every page of the BOQ and bid price summary shall be a ground for the rejection of bid. For detailed estimates shall include a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with a bid. All bidders shall be required to include the cost of all taxes such as, but not limited to, VAT, income tax, local taxes, and other fiscal levies and duties, which shall be itemized in the bid form and reflected in the detailed estimates. And last is the cash flow by quarter using the prescribed form as shown on the screen, and it shall be based on the duration of the procurement project. Format, sealing, and marking of bids. Bidders shall submit their bids through their duly authorized representative using the appropriate forms in two separate sealed bid envelopes, which shall be submitted simultaneously, whether through manual or online submission. The first shall contain the technical component of the bid, including the eligibility requirements, as discussed earlier. Each and every page of the bid forms, including the BOQs, shall be signed by the duly authorized representatives of the bidder. Again, failure to do so shall be a ground for the rejection of the bid. Any insertions, erasures, or overwriting shall be valid only if they are signed or initialed by the duly authorized representatives of the bidder. Bids shall be printed in A4 size paper and binded. Each type of document shall have a tab number. Bidders shall enclose their technical documents, sealed envelope marked technical component, all capitalized, and the financial component in another sealed envelope marked financial component, sealing them all in one outer envelope marked bid. The bid shall be typed or written in ink and shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representatives. Bids shall be received by the back on the date, time, and place specified in the invitation to bid paragraph. Bids submitted after the deadline shall not be accepted by the back. All envelopes shall contain the name of the contractor to be bid in capital letters, shall bear the name and address of the bidder in capital letters, and must be addressed to the procuring entity's back in accordance with ITB Clause 18.1, and bear the specific identification of its bidding process. Bear a warning, do not open before the date and time of the opening of bids. For manually submitted bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked as required in the bidding documents, the same shall be accepted provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. On the other hand, unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes or bids that cannot be opened or corrupted in case of online submission shall be rejected. The back shall assume no responsibility for misplaced or lost contents of the improper sealed or marked bid or for its premature opening. Aside from the original copy, the bidder shall also submit two additional copies of the technical and financial components of bid. The next is the standard bidding procedures for procurement of infrastructure projects and it will be discussed by Ma'am Rochelle Garzon.
So once again, good morning, everyone. So let's proceed to the standard bidding procedures for procurement of infrastructure project. So the first step is the preliminary examination of bids. So the back shall open, bid envelopes in public immediately after the deadline, using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion. Only those bids which both envelopes were rated pass shall be considered for the next step, which is the evaluation and comparison. So the next step, the detailed evaluation of bids. So the back, we shall check first the completeness of bids, and the second is arithmetical computation. For the completeness of bids, partial bid shall not be allowed. Thus, bids not providing all the required items shall not be considered. For the arithmetical computation, the ABC shall serve as the upper limit or ceiling for acceptable bid prices. If a bid price is evaluated and calculated is higher than the ABC, that bid shall be considered automatically disqualified. There shall also be no lower limit or floor in the amount of the bid. So also all taxes and other costs shall be included in the cost of the bid. So in case of discrepancies, those rules as shown in the screen shall apply. So after the detailed evaluation, the bid shall then be ranked in the ascending order of their total calculated bid prices to identify the lowest calculated bid to be considered in the next step. So the next step, the third one, is the post-qualification. So the purpose of this is to verify, validate, and ascertain the documents submitted in the back. So within 5 calendar days upon receipt of the notice, the documents as shown in the screen shall be submitted by the bidder undergoing the post-qualification. So take note of the 6 documents. So also during post-qualification, for its legal requirements, we shall verify, validate, asserting the submitted licenses, certificates, and permit. And also we shall check if that bidder is not included in any blacklist. For its technical requirement, we shall verify and validate its stated competence and experience, the experience of its key personnel to be assigned to the project, and verify and validate and inspect the testing for the required capacities and operations of the major construction equipment and material testing equipments. Also, we shall check whether the performance of the bidder in its ongoing government and private contracts have any deficiencies as shown in the screen. And the last, for its financial requirement, we shall verify, validate, and ascertain the bid price proposal of the bidder, and whenever applicable, the bidder's NFCC, to ensure that the bidder can sustain the operating cash flow of the transaction. So if the BAC determines that the bidder with the lowest calculated bid passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall declare the bid with the lowest calculated responsive bid and recommend to the hope for award of the project. However, if the BAC determines that that bidder did not qualify during post-qualification, it shall immediately notify the said bidder in writing of its post-qualification and the grounds for it. So immediately after the BAC has notified the first bidder of its post-disqualification, and notwithstanding any pending request for reconsideration thereof, the BAC shall initiate and complete the same post-qualification process for the second lowest calculated bid. So if the second again did not pass the post-qualification, it shall also be the third bid, and so on, until we recommend and find the next lowest calculated bid to be determined for award. So after the post-qualification procedure, we shall proceed to the fourth stage, the awarding of the contract. So after the BAC determines the bidder with the lowest calculated responsive bid, they shall recommend to the hope the award of the contract to the bidder with the LCRB or SCRB. In case of the approval, the hope shall immediately issue the notice of award to the bidder. So within 10 calendar days from the receipt of the winning bidder of the notice of award, the following conditions shall be complied before the contract may be awarded. These conditions are shown in the screen. Take note of the documents. Also, they shall also require to post the performance security in any forms as discussed earlier. And the last stage, the signing of the contract as provided in 66.5C of the IIR or RA 12009. If the bidder fails to meet these conditions, they shall be subject for disqualification and their bid security shall be forfeited. So within the 7 calendar days from the date of the approval of the contract, the procuring entity shall issue the NTP together with a copy of the approved contract to the successful bidder. That date of the receipt of the successful bidder of the NTP shall be the date of the effectivity of the contract and the start of the project. So that is all, Mr. Chair, for the standard procedures.
Any matter to discuss? Since all matters relating to this proceedings were completed, any reactions, questions, or clarification? Mr. Chair. I would like this, Subject. I would like to inform all interested bidders that the deadline of submission, receipt of bids, and the opening and preliminary examination shall be on July 14, 2026 at exactly 10 p.m. here at Procurement Unit Office sa Banbanan del Norte, Second District Engineering Office. Kanta isa dan po. Thank you. Any motion for adjournment?
I'm